can you please look up this thing?
See if we can figure out something.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to talk very quick fast. Love how it is suggesting me at the bottom of me. I went on to the first part of this. I went to try find day one, part one, because this is day one, part two, and it's gone. And then the chat said something like, did something go wrong? So here's what we're gonna do. One, if there's anybody that is an absolute speed video editor, please let me know, because there is someone who was reacting to it that I would gladly give credit to. I just don't know if they're okay. So I don't want to show their, I don't know if they're okay to show on my stream. So I essentially just need someone to trim the first part down. But we just need to see what the deal is now, in case they remove this one as well. And I'm going to have to do some very creative, wait, I'm not even sharing the right page. 1 minute. I'm going to have to do some very creative StreamYarding here to make sure that, there we go, covered that. Cover that. I'm pretty sure I'm not cutting anything off. Let's just see when it starts.
Please be seated, everyone. Okay, another witness for the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. State Lieutenant
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Go ahead and have a seat there. State your name and spell it for the record, please.
My name is Lieutenant Chad Krabel, ChadCrabill.
Go ahead, counsel.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, Lieutenant. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Now, how long have you been employed as a City of Dubuque officer?
Just shy of 9 years.
How long have you been a lieutenant?
I've been a lieutenant about 6 months.
Okay. And is that the extent of your employment in law enforcement?
Yes, just with the Dubuque Police Department.
Okay. And what is your education training that you obtained to become a City of Dubuque police officer?
I graduated from Loras College in 2015 with a bachelor's in criminal justice, a minor in business. Once I graduated from college, I was then hired by the Dubuque Police Department. Once hired, I attended the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy, which was approximately 16 weeks long of training there. Upon graduation, I came back to the Dubuque Police Department and completed the field training program, which was about 20 weeks long.
Okay. And any additional certifications, qualifications, are you up to date on all of them?
Yes, I'm up to date on all of them. I was a patrol officer for about 4.5 years. I was then promoted to corporal. Spent a couple years in investigations. Like I said, about 6 months ago, I was promoted to lieutenant. I'm some of my instructor fields. I'm a driving instructor, less lethal instructor, taser instructor for the department as well.
Okay, very good. And just as a patrol officer for the City of Dubuque, what generally are your job duties?
For a patrol officer, responding to calls for service, could be disturbances, could be motor vehicle accidents, conducting traffic stops, serving arrest warrants, things like that.
A mixed bag of things.
Correct, a little bit of everything.
Okay, now with your designation as lieutenant, what extra duties do you have?
A lieutenant is in charge of all the patrol officers on duty. So usually anywhere from 8 to 15 officers, a lieutenant is responsible for. Just decision-making on cases, accepting reports, reviewing pursuits, use of force, more of a supervisor.
Okay, and I had previously discussed this with Lieutenant Dazey, but lieutenant is second to the captain, right?
Correct. Lieutenant is under captain.
Okay, very good. And were you on duty and working as a lieutenant with the City of Dubuque Police Department on January 18, 2024?
I would have been a corporal on patrol at that time on January 18th. Yes, I was working.
Okay, so the corporal then is right below lieutenant.
That's correct.
All right. And so you were a corporal back then and you responded to 1605 Avoca Street. Do you
Yes.
recall that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Tell me about that. What happened that led you to respond and what happened once you arrived on scene?
Sure. So that was right at about 9 a.m. that day. My shift as a corporal was 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. So right as I came into work, I was notified of a deceased subject on Avoca Street. So basically went straight out to my squad car, drove up there. Upon arrival, the fire department and other police officers were already on scene. So when I pulled up, I blocked off an intersection. And then I approached 1605 Avoca Street. I was aware that multiple officers were already inside the residence. And so I think they had asked officers to go to the rear of the residence to secure that since the residence was not secured or we haven't did not walk through the residence for any other people. So when I arrived on scene, I went to the back kind of southwest side of the residence. I observed a couple vehicles in the driveway at 1605 Avoca Street. There was a truck parked towards the front of the driveway, which was registered to Nick Fry. And then there was also a sedan parked kind of in the back of the driveway, which was registered to Tyler.
Okay, I'm going to stop you for just 1 second.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and publish, please, Judge, State's Exhibit 2. Okay. All right, I just want you to, is there a laser pointer up there?
Yes, there is.
Okay, wonderful. Can you just point out the truck you're speaking of?
This is the red truck I'm speaking of that was kind of parked towards the front of the driveway there.
Registered to Nicholas Fry?
That's correct.
And the other vehicle you were referencing?
That vehicle is parked right in the back there that was covered with snow.
Okay, and you said that was registered to?
Tyler Dazey.
All right. As you took perimeter outside, from this picture, can you kind of show the jury what area you were taking perimeter or holding perimeter?
Yes, I would have, the red car back there, I was standing right next to that, holding the rear of the residence.
Okay. Now, as you arrived, you said you were briefed on what was happening. There were already officers inside, so you took hold on the outside. What were your initial observations or things you were paying attention to as you were holding perimeter on the outside of the residence?
So my responsibilities was to basically make sure no one exited the residence, ran out of the residence, overall just kind of scanning to see if there's a disturbance or blood or a broken door or something like that. Those were my responsibilities.
Okay, and tell me about that. Did you see anything? What did you see?
When I was standing by the red car, it was I was kind of facing like that side door on the residence. I did not see that any doors or windows to be forced or like they were kicked in. Did not observe any blood. As you can see, the ground was all snow covered. I did not observe any like footprints in the middle of the snow in the backyard. The side door that I was talking about before, where there was some a garbage can and recycle bin, there were some padded down snow or footprints around those I observed.
Okay, so let's just kind of look at these a little bit more. May I approach?
Yes.
I'm handing you what I have marked as State's Exhibit 8. It's a packet of a few photos. Can you quickly just scan through those?
Yes. Okay.
And what are those?
These are photos of the exterior of the residence.
Okay, and do they appear as they appeared to you on January 18, 2024?
Yes, I do.
Move to admit State's Exhibit 8.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
8 is admitted.
And may I publish?
Yes.
Okay. And you can use your laser pointer if there's anything to point out, okay, Lieutenant?
Okay.
In the first photo within this group, just kind of point out where we are and what you see.
So this image is the very back of the residence. I'll point out the red car right there. That's where I was standing.
Okay. And I see that there is a rear door in the back there.
That's correct. There's a rear gray door right there.
Okay. From this photo, do you see any footprints leading up to that door?
I do not.
Any fresh marks within the snow?
I do not.
Okay. Now we are in the second photo within that group. Tell me what we're looking at here, Lieutenant.
This is the what I would describe as the side door that I referenced earlier. I'm standing back to the left from this where that red car is. There is the garbage can, recycle bin, and like I said, there's some kind of padded down snow like someone had walked up and down those stairs previously.
Okay. Did anything in that area appear to you to be fresh?
It's kind of hard to say. I can say like there's no forced entry to the door or no signs of like a disturbance there.
Okay. Do you remember what the weather was like that day at all?
It was very cold that day. I don't remember the exact temperature, but I know after I got done holding the perimeter of the residence, I went back to my squad car and got a face mask and gloves and hat and everything. It was very cold.
Okay. And there's a window in this photo as well?
That's correct. The window in the upper right corner.
Okay. And did you observe that window to be open or closed?
It was closed.
All right. All right. The next photo within that group, what are we looking at here?
This is almost an exact vantage point of where I was standing, holding the rear of the residence, back by that red car. There's the side door again.
Okay. And you had previously referenced garbage or anything like that. Can you point that out in relation to the door there?
So the recycle bin and garbage can are just outside that side door.
Okay. The next photo within that group, what are we looking at here?
This is a view from the other side of the backyard pointing to the red car.
Okay. Do you see any signs of disturbance within this photo?
I do not.
Okay. The next photo, what are we looking at?
This is on the other side or the north side of the house. Again, just the exterior photo.
Okay. Do you see any signs of disturbance or any marks in the snow?
No.
Okay. Okay. Where, in this photo, it's kind of the side to the backyard, correct?
Yes, it'd be the backyard on the north side.
Okay, and there's a wooded area in the back there, right?
That's correct.
Tell me about, what do you know of this property to abut to?
The backyard of this property is roughly like the doghouse, University in Asbury.
Okay, so you would, if you went through that wooded area, that's where you would find yourself?
Approximately, yes.
Okay. Okay, Lieutenant, anything else you did to assist in this investigation after you held perimeter?
So after I held perimeter, I put up crime scene tape outside the front of the residence, so investigators had some room to work. Later on that morning, I was tasked with going to find and interview Miss Dazey's son and daughter, which is Nicholas Fry and Kylie Fry. So I ended up having contact with Kylie at 1605 Avoca Street, transported her down to the police department where I conducted an interview with her. Later on in the afternoon, Nicholas Fry met me at the police department and I conducted an interview with him as well.
Okay, and did you do any of the follow-up investigation work with either Nicholas or Kylie?
The only thing that I did is I spoke with Kylie initially the very next day. I spoke with her to obtain a little bit more information on her whereabouts. And I also obtained some video surveillance from Quickstar, which is a gas station here in Dubuque. And that was the extent of my follow-up.
Okay. And did you know at that point, was any follow-up on their whereabouts assigned to the Criminal Investigations Division?
Yes, the follow-up was assigned to the Criminal Investigation Division.
Okay, do you know if they were ultimately able to exclude the two of them as suspects?
Yes, they were.
Okay, I have no additional questions.
Cross-examination.
Thank you. How are you doing today, Lieutenant?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. On direct, you talked about Quickstar, right?
Yes.
And you obtained some video. And what did that video show?
That video surveillance was from the day prior, so the 17th, and that video showed Miss Dazey pulling up in her, I believe it's a GMC SUV. She goes and I believe she gets some gas. She goes inside with the dog and then comes back out to her vehicle and leaves.
Okay. Would that have been about 11:22 a.m. On the 17th?
That could be. I remember it was light out. I don't know the exact time though.
Okay. And then the next time, when's the next time you see that vehicle, the GMC Acadia?
The next,
You personally?
me personally,
Yes.
the next time I saw that vehicle was on the 18th when Nicholas Fry came down to the police department and I interviewed him. He had mentioned that he drove his mother's vehicle that day. And so after my interview with Nick, I went outside and Nick allowed me to take photographs of the vehicle, search the vehicle, and that's where I found a receipt to Quickstar, which is why I obtained that video surveillance.
And when you spoke to Nick, at some point, he said he was in Cedar Rapids, correct?
That's correct.
And were you able to verify that?
Me personally, I did not follow up. That would have been the Criminal Investigations Division.
Okay. And I'm going to go, if we can look at number 8. Yeah, let's start with this one. The first photo in State's Exhibit 8. Now, to your knowledge, when you were doing the perimeter, did any officers go into the backyard?
To my knowledge, no. I was the only one initially standing back by that red car.
Okay. And I think you said, let me turn this on first. I think initially you said you didn't see any footprints in the backyard. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And here, though, it looks like there could be some footprints going out towards the backyard. Is that correct?
It does appear so, yes.
Okay. If you can go back to down one. And this porch right here is kind of what you were talking about, where the footprints, where it looked like somebody had been walking, correct?
That's correct.
And you can't definitively say when that happened, correct?
That's right.
And did you have anything to do with the subpoena with the Ring Camera Company?
I did not.
Okay. Do you have any idea of what footage they requested?
I do not. The only thing with surveillance that I was aware of is at this back door, there's a Ring camera on the back door that I pointed out to Investigator Rosenthal when he came on scene, but I did no follow-up with that.
Okay. May I approach?
Yes.
Sorry, the site I was busy getting the research from started playing an ad super loud and I panicked.
What's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit A. And I understand you didn't take this picture, but do you recognize kind of the area that this picture would have been taken?
I believe in reviewing photos from before, I think it was right outside this side door, but I can't say for 100%.
Does it appear to be an accurate depiction of what you observed as far as footprints on that area?
I didn't look very closely at the footprints there. I could just say that it appeared someone had walked there, or obviously with the snow being patted down.
Okay. And is this picture consistent with snow being pat?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd ask Defendant's Exhibit A be admitted.
Any objection?
No.
Exhibit A is admitted.
May I publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
Hold on a minute. Let me make sure that. Of course. Okay. And this is the footprints that you observed, correct?
That appears consistent with what I observed outside that side door.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you remember the last time that it snowed before this?
I do not.
Okay. Would it refresh your recollection if you saw a report from the Weather Service?
That could help remember when it snowed last, yes?
Okay. May I approach?
Yes.
And just take a look at it yourself. I know that it's small print. I apologize. I couldn't get it any bigger. But if you can look, right here would be the 18th. And if you could just look up from there.
Okay.
Prior to the 18th would have been right here is the new snow.
So on the 18th, it indicates that there was, the new snow was 0.9. I don't know what the measurement is.
What would have been the time before the 18th?
That looks like on the 13th, so 5 days prior, and that's 0.4.
Okay. And so these footprints probably would have had to been within the last 5 days. Is that correct?
Objection, calls. Back to this witness.
Well, I'm going to let him answer if he knows. Go ahead if you know.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes. These footprints would have had to have been made in about the last 5 days, correct? Or 5 days. Sorry, that's a bad question. These footprints would have had to have been made sometime within the 5 day time frame between the last snowfall and the 18th, correct?
I would say that's hard for me to say, but I would suggest it's probable that else the footprints or the concrete would be covered up with the new snow, I would say.
May I approach?
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to show you what's marked as Defendant's Exhibit C. Can you tell the court what that is a picture of?
This is a picture of the backyard of the residence.
Okay. And I know it's a little difficult to see, but does it appear that there's some footprints? I know the picture isn't good quality, but does it appear there's some footprints going into the backyard?
So in this specific photo, it's difficult to tell. I know there's another photo that I believe Investigator Hoff that took a close-up that indicated there was an animal or like deer footprints in the backyard.
Okay. And does this appear to be a fair and accurate representation of the backyard on the day that you observed it?
Yes.
Okay. I'd ask Defendant's Exhibit C be admitted.
Any objection?
No.
Exhibit C is admitted.
Okay. May I publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay. And again, these are some footprints we're seeing here, and I think you've said that they may belong to a deer.
That's correct.
And that was Investigator Hoff.
I believe it was a CID investigator who, I think it was Investigator Hoff who had took exterior photos of the residence.
Okay. We can take it down, Your Honor. And Kylie showed up at the residence while you were there. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you had an opportunity to interview her. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
And did you have your body cam on during this time?
Yes, I did.
Okay. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm going to hand you what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit B. Now, you had an opportunity to review what was on that thumb drive, correct?
Yes.
And what was on that thumb drive?
They were 3 clips from my body-worn camera that day.
And is it a true and accurate representation of what was recorded on your body cam footage?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd ask that Defendant's Exhibit B be admitted.
Any objection?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Defendant's Exhibit B is admitted.
And may I publish?
Yes.
Okay. Lieutenant Krabel, I'm going to show you just this first clip.
Okay.
And I noticed that you muted the mic at that point. Is that something that you normally do as an officer?
Whenever I would mute a mic, Officer Handbaum, who's in this photograph, and I were probably discussing the case or strategy or something, so that's why I muted it.
Okay. And we see somebody in the back of this squad car. And who is that?
That is Kylie Fry.
Okay. And Miss Fry, do you know why she's in the back of the squad car?
Yes. So she arrived on scene maybe 2 or 3 minutes prior to this, and Captain Style is in the green North Face jacket there. And he had just asked her to sit in the back of the squad car and explained that's when her mother was deceased.
Okay. And like you said, it was cold out, correct?
It was very cold.
So it wouldn't have been very nice to just leave her out in the elements, right?
That's true.
Okay. She wasn't under arrest or anything at this point, correct?
She was not.
There's no one going to go inside or...
So you just want to grab a seat, he'll give you a ride down the wall, sir, I'll make arrangements when you come back. I guess I said that I don't just go back.
I didn't know if they let you.
Okay, I'll come back when I do the back.
Nothing special. It's just work.
Is Puff down there? Yeah, Puff was with Hopper.
And at this point, she has been informed, correct, of her mother's death?
Yes.
Is there anybody down for Los Angeles? Are you up here somewhere? No, I just came out to make sure. Hang on a second, Max. Yep. You take him. Okay. You take her down. You take her down and just interview her. Yep. And you all that information. He's innocent. Yep. Sorry for bouncing your own car.
It's all good. You're just doing your job.
I'm Chad. What's your name?
Hi. Nice to meet you. Was there an accident that wouldn't happen probably this morning? Maybe if you still.
Yeah, just so I got it right, Jen's motor.
Yeah.
So we'll go in here again. I'll just throw your backpack back here. Try and get it back to you.
You want my pepper spray too?
I'll throw it back here.
I know I'm not gonna do anything with it, but
I appreciate that.
I know how it is, and I'm
Yeah, nothing else on the family. Perfect.
catching up.
All right. Good. I want to get some heat going. Are you cold? Not too bad in here? Okay.
But I wouldn't mind.
Good morning. Alright, Councilor Keel.
Was there cop sent to my house because this?
Carol's not over at the court. Yes.
Okay. I was just double checking. Because I was fighting a domestic case with my mom because she said I slapped her foot.
Okay. 190. Transporting an adult female to the law center.
And if you recall, was there anything on the drive that was evidentiary value?
There was not. I think we just kind of had small talk on the way down.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you clip 2, and if you can kind of give an idea of.
I'm just going to set this bag outside here. Okay. Is there anything else on you that I should know about? Like just phone and. Perfect. Okay.
I don't think I have anything else.
Sounds good. Can I get you a water pop or anything like?
And where are you now?
This is at the Dubuque Law Enforcement Center in the CID area in an interview room.
Okay. And so far what we've seen as far as on the first clip and this clip, was that kind of the demeanor of Ms. Fry throughout the interview?
I guess her demeanor was, she had multiple different kind of emotions in demeanor during my interview with her. But generally, for the most part, I would describe her as fairly calm. I mean.
Okay.
If you do have it.
I'll do a bottle of water. How about that? Yep. And then just give me a minute. I'll be back in. Okay. All right. Thanks, Kylie. Any of our guys out here? Oh. If so, could you start that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Becky, if you would.
Okay. And there's one last clip that I'm going to play.
Okay.
Where were you at work? Yeah. Who came and told you? I got a phone call from Amanda, and then Gina called me saying to get there. Gina fucking these people, seriously.
And so, as far as you know, nobody from law enforcement had gotten a hold of Kylie prior to showing up, correct?
As far as I know, that's correct.
Okay.
What?
Gina and all them, they need to stop calling people.
Well, they didn't tell me. I told them to tell me.
Oh,
But I'll call you once I'm done.
are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Well, I'll put the call down to Grandma. Do you need us to get you somewhere or you just gotta go to Grandma's?
I'll let you know. Probably will need to come and get me.
What?
Probably will need to come and get me. I can't drive my car. My wheel drive needs to be fixed.
Okay. Well,
Never mind. Never mind.
After I get Charlie.
Never mind. I have a ride.
What?
I have a ride.
You have a ride?
Yeah, just go down there. I'll meet you down.
Okay, go to Grandma's with you then.
All right. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, we can do that happen for you. You're welcome. So, again, my name's Jan. I'm a,
Were you there when I called about a guy coming to my house down across Comiskey?
how long ago?
Not that long ago.
I don't think so.
I wish it was longer.
The last time I was down at Comiskey was probably a couple, 3 weeks ago when there were some juvenile kids that broke out like the bus that bus little hut thing, where like they were throwing some rocks at the glass where the bus comes picks them up, and they had broke that. So that was probably the last time I was on Comiskey.
There was a guy at my house that I used to work for, or not work for, one of my customers
Oh.
actually came to my house confessing their love, manic, and the guy that slipped my tire before that, he was the one who got caught.
Not good.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But while I'm here, I'm so sorry, I'm all over the board. While I'm here, would I be able to ask about police report after this is?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, we'll knock this out. I'll get a little information from you, and then we can go on that, see what I can help you with. Okay. So let me describe your name here. It's Kylie.
Kylie.
K-Y-L-I-E.
L-I-E.
What's your middle name?
N-A-N-N-E.
And last name?
Fry, F-R-E-Y. Go by Dazey.
Okay, but so the last name is officially Fray, but you go by Dazey. Gotcha. Okay. And what's your date of birth?
3/18/2005.
And what's your current address?
2457 Essex Street.
Is that a house or apartment?
It's a house, duplex.
Duplex? Upstairs or downstairs?
Downstairs. My
Downstairs.
brother lives upstairs.
Okay, so that's considered the half then? Okay. And what's the phone number for it, Kylie?
563-580-1950.
5-0. Okay. All right. So again, basically, I was just asked with trying to get some more information from you about what's going on today. Again, I'm very sorry for your mother's passing. And so, from what I gathered, just listening to you, it sounds like grandparents called you and told you about it.
No, I got a call. Well, first I got a call from my grandparents saying my neighbors are Bigfoots. We all have each other's numbers, or old neighbors.
Oh, on Avoca?
Yeah. The one saw that ambulance was outside. My
Okay.
grandma called saying, hey, there's an ambulance outside. Can you get to the house?
So you, okay.
Can you get to the house? I said, at work I can't do much. I don't have a car. Then I texted Gina, which is the one that said she saw the ambulance.
Mhm.
And I said, hey, what's going on? I don't know, there's ambulance. And I would want to say she said Tyler was in cuffs. Pretty sure. And then I got a call from, who was it? I want to say I called Gina back, or she called me. Someone called me, one of them. And they said, you're here now. I said, what's going on? And of course, what's going on? Then they told me.
And who Gina told you?
I want to say Ron was on the phone, but it was on Gina's phone.
Gotcha. Okay, what time did your grandma call you saying that there's an ambulance at the house together?
Called the first time was at 10.
10 o'clock exactly?
Well, it was 9:59 exactly.
9:59, perfect.
Sorry, I forgot you.
No, that's okay. And so, you said when she called you, you answered though, but you were at work?
Well, the first time I didn't answer, and then she called, or I called back, like right away.
Gotcha. Okay. And where do you work at?
Villages.
Diligent? VI. It's a good place. How long have you been there for?
I just went back. I was there for about a year and a half. That's right. I have been there for about a year and a half. So I went back.
Sure. Okay. So you call grandma back, and that's the one on Washington Street, and that's when she tells you that there's an ambulance at the house and you got to go. But
Yeah,
you
because
say,
my grandma, the smallest thing, you have to get there.
yeah, right. And then you're at work, you're unable to go. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't have my car. My car needs to be fixed because
you have your
with
car.
my tire being slit, my all-wheel drive is messed up.
Oh.
I love it. Just so much.
Okay.
That's
So-
why I'm so calm. Shit always happens.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's all good.
So then if you know not having a vehicle, you're not able to get there, then what kind of happened next, or who got
The
home next?
other different neighbor, I don't remember her name, I used to work with her. Her kids. I don't know her name. She came to that meeting.
Okay. What time was that at, do you know?
I can look, I have the 360 on myself. Jackson, oh, we're on Jackson. I was like, why am I doing that? It was at 10:56, or no. Yeah, 10:56. I was thrown off because I thought the time was before my grandma calling, but 10:56 is when I left. And I got there at 10:59. And that's why I thought, yeah.
Oh, and that's when you talked to us there. Okay. And by that time, you already knew about
Oh, yeah.
what happened.
I knew on the phone, because she said, or Ron was like, come. And I was like, can't really, being a waitress is kind of hard.
Sure.
And me personally, I don't really deal with that. Hence why I'm so calm, kind of.
Yeah.
But I was like, what's the point of me leaving? Like, it sounds kind of heartless, but it's not like I can do much now.
Sure.
But
Have you had
with
like,
how they were reacting, I thought, okay.
you should go up, yeah. Have you had like previous experiences with this or
I walked
why you
into
kind of
suicide.
say that?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a family member previously or
He
friend?
was my mom's ex-boyfriend, best friend. His name was Mike. He worked at Denver.
Okay, how long ago was that?
About, I would say, 70 months.
Also recently?
Yeah.
Okay. That didn't happen on, was that Wood Street?
It was across the bridge. It was in Marina or whatever that area is for campgrounds.
Oh, okay. In, East of Dubuque there?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He was in his trailer.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So at this time, you could obviously, you knew what was going on when you showed up to the house. Who all lives at the house?
It was my brother and my mom. And then,
Okay. And mom's Jen, correct?
yes.
Or does she go by Jennifer?
She goes by Jenny.
Jenny? Okay. And then brother is who again?
Tyler.
Tyler. And dog name?
Echo.
Echo? Gotcha. Okay. How long is it Jenny's house then?
Yeah.
And how long she lived there?
Okay, you can take down the. In your investigation, did you ever find out if she had any keys to the house?
I did not.
Okay, and some point during the investigation, she was saying some not nice things about Jenny. Is that correct?
Objection for hearsay, also.
It goes to her state of mind and also gives more context to the clips that we saw.
I'm going to allow it. You can answer the question. Go ahead.
Could you repeat it again, please?
Yeah. Kylie said some not so nice things about her mother, correct?
I remember her talking about,
And I don't necessarily need specifics, but just.
she explained that she was involved in a domestic with her mother, where she was allegedly had slapped her foot, as far as not things that were not nice.
Okay. She say anything else that was, and again, I don't want the specifics, but did she say anything else that would be not as nice?
I'm going to renew my.
Well, this time you asked him, what did she say? I'm going to sustain the objection on hearsay.
And during the, or at least at the beginning and towards the end, did she seem concerned about this criminal mischief charge she was a victim of?
Objection.
Well, I think your question was, did she seem concerned?
Yes.
You can testify about what you observed. Go ahead.
At the beginning of our interview, she did ask about like a status update on her criminal mischief case that she reported in December. Yes.
And did she ask about it again at the end?
I do not remember.
Would it help refresh your recollection if you saw a copy of your report?
Yes.
I'll move on to a different question. Were you able to get possible passcodes for Jennifer Dazey's phone?
Kylie provided me 2 potential passcodes for her phone that I passed on to Criminal Investigations Division.
And do you recall if she mentioned anything about the Ring doorbells?
I do not.
Okay. Would that refresh your recollection if you saw a copy of your report?
Yes.
These questions are calling for hearsay, basically diving into the content of that.
Well, this question is, would it refresh your recollection? He said yes. Go ahead with your next question.
Okay, may I approach?
Yes.
And just for clarification, you're just saying go forward?
Yes, go ahead and ask the next question you were going to ask.
And I don't want you to read it out loud. I want to take a look
Okay.
yourself. And be this first paragraph.
Okay, I read it.
Okay. Does that refresh your recollection as to whether or not she mentioned the Ring doorbell?
You can answer yes or no.
Yes.
Yep. And did she end up mentioning the Ring doorbell?
Yes, she did mention the Ring doorbell.
Okay. Did she give any indication where the ring doorbell system would be?
I don't remember. If I read that line of my report, I could probably tell you.
Okay, may I approach again, Your Honor?
Yes. You can answer yes or no if you remember the question.
Could you repeat that again, please?
Yes. Did she give any indication where the account for her mother's Ring doorbell would be?
Yes.
And if you can recall, where was that? The account, where would the account be?
Her mother's cell phone.
Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
Any redirect?
Yes, please, Your Honor. May I please publish Exhibit 8? Okay, Lieutenant, can you tell from these photos what the material of those steps is?
Appears to be wood.
Okay. Mr. Hoover, can we put up that photo of the prints? Okay. And can you tell from looking at this photo what the material is underneath the snow and the melted snow? Do you want to look at the actual picture?
No, that's okay. It appears to be concrete.
Okay. So that would not be on any one of those steps, correct, Lieutenant?
That's correct. The step material didn't from that image appear to be concrete.
Okay. And that concrete would be closer to the driveway area, correct?
Yes, the driveway was concrete.
Okay. Now, there was that brief discussion about the prints in that photo. Okay, that photo isn't very great because snow is white and it's hard to discern what's in there. Is that accurate?
That's true.
Okay, so did you look at all the photos of the exterior when you were investigating or in preparation for trial?
Yes,
And you said you looked at those photos up close?
that's correct.
Okay. Were they human prints?
No, as I said before, it appeared that they were an animal or more specifically deer footprints.
Okay. Now, there was the footage of Ms. Fry and your initial contact with her and things of that nature that Mr. Hoover discussed with you. Did you observe her to cry and tear up at moments throughout all of your contact with her?
Yes, I did.
And in fact, in the end of that third clip, does she appear to be wiping a tear from her face?
That's correct. That's when she began to tear up or cry.
Okay. And I believe she said in that third clip, I love it. It's so much. That's why I'm so calm. Shit always happens. And I don't do death or I don't handle death. Do you remember her saying that to you?
Yes.
Okay. Now you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, because sometimes my memory isn't always the best, but you said you are an officer for Dubuque for 9 years.
Yes.
How old of a man are you, Lieutenant?
I am 31 years old.
Okay. And in your 9 years as an officer, and 31 years, have you had multiple calls with people responding to death or grief?
Yes.
And would you say they all respond in the same way?
I would not. It really varies on call to call on how people handle death, grief, and then, of course, being questioned by the police afterwards.
Okay, it's a traumatic, stressful experience.
I would say so.
Would you be able to say you would be able to predict how a certain person would respond to grief or trauma?
No.
So you wouldn't say that the way she reacted is unusual, generally speaking?
No.
Nothing else.
Mr. Hoover?
Would you say there's a difference in how women and men react to bad news?
I guess I can answer that in general.
Yeah, general.
I would suggest that men try to be a little bit tougher, hold tears back, where sometimes women can be more emotional. But again, it just, in my 9 years of being a police officer and just responded to quite a few death calls, it's really just across the board on how people react to them.
And there's no doubt in your mind that there were footprints on the stairs themselves, correct?
I never physically walked up to those stairs and looked at them. I can say that it certainly appeared that someone had stepped on those stairs or there's footprints because that snow was patted down.
Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
Nothing else.
Thank you, sir. You're free to go.
Thank you.
Another witness for the state?
It's 10-2. Would you like to take a break, Judge?
We can, if that's a good natural spot for you.
Right before the next witness to come up so we can there's also other items to bring down.
Okay, that's fine. Folks, we'll take a 10 or 15 minute bathroom break for everyone. Remember the admonition, keep an open mind about everything, report back to the jury room.
All rise for the jury.
Hey guys, I just want to see if we're not caught up. So we should be able to.
Okay, another witness for the state?
Thank you, Judge. State calls Investigator Isaiah Hoff.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead and have a seat there.
Thank you, Your Honor.
State your name and spell it for the record, please.
It's Isaiah Hoff, ISAIAH, HOFF.
Go ahead, counsel.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Investigator Hoff. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And you are employed for the City of Dubuque Police Department.
That's correct.
How long have you been employed as a police officer?
Approximately 12 and a half years.
Okay. And what is your current designation in the City of Dubuque Police Department?
Currently, I'm a corporal within the Criminal Investigations Division.
Okay. And let's start with the Criminal Investigations Division. What is that?
It is a unit within the department full of basically detectives. We handle felony level crimes, kind of more complex investigations, things like that. It's a special assignment separate from patrol.
And it's kind of almost like a referral. Patrol starts to handle something and then would refer to the Criminal Investigations Division.
Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it.
Okay. And prior to you, how long have you been employed then in the Criminal Investigations Division again?
This is my second stint. I did 18 months in the unit back in 2018 to 2020. I took a promotion, returned to the street, and then I returned again back about 2 years ago.
Okay. And just like the others, it goes corporal, lieutenant, captain, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so in order to become a police officer, what kind of training did you, or certifications did you receive?
Well, I got my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I was hired on by the Dubuque Police Department back in 2012. I attended the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy where I got my law enforcement certification, passed the FTO, the Field Training Officer program, became a police officer here. And then that's really what you need to become a police officer.
Okay. And you are also required to maintain certifications, get updated trainings and things of that nature. Are all yours up to date?
Yeah, I mean, part of the being in CID, it does require some additional trainings and certifications. So once you're selected as a detective, you get sent to certain trainings like sex abuse investigation, crime scene investigation, homicide investigation, interview and interrogation, kind of these specialty trainings that you're going to be called upon to use as a detective.
Okay, and just to clarify, when you say CID, that's a shortened way of saying Criminal Investigations Division.
Yeah,
correct?
That's the acronym that we use for the department.
Okay. And so why don't you just tell me generally about how CID takes on a case?
So there are really two different ways that CID can get involved in a case. The first would be kind of that referral form. A patrol officer may respond to a theft or a robbery. They may take the initial report and recognize, hey, there's no need for immediate action on this tonight, but this is going to require some specialty training. So that will get sent off to the CID division. That will then be referred off to us, a day, a week later, and then we would pick up that investigation. The other way that we get involved in investigations is if there's a major crime that had just occurred, there's an active crime scene, there's leads that need to be followed up with immediately. We are called out to the scene. So patrol will basically, they'll initially respond, they'll recognize, hey, this is something we need some additional expertise in. We need CID to respond to the scene. If we're on duty, we'll leave the station and respond to the scene. If it's after hours, they'll call us at our home, middle of the night or whatever, and we're told to come and respond in.
Is it fair to say that any type of potential homicide would be something referred to the Criminal Investigations Division?
Yes, it's pretty standard for any unattended or suspicious death to
at least require one, if not two, investigators to come out and just kind of, review the scene and assist in processing.
Okay. And on January 18th, 2024, you were called in to assist to a case investigation, just like you described.
Yes.
And where was that at?
1605 Avoca Street,
And what county is that in, investigator?
Dubuque County.
And what was, I'm assuming you then responded to 1605 Avoca Street.
Yeah, so what had happened was we were all, many of the investigators were in the basement at the law enforcement center doing an unrelated training. Officers down there did have radios on. We could hear that patrol units had responded to 1605 Avoca Street for a suspicious death. Listening to the radio traffic, it wasn't quite clear what was going on, but it was evident from the radio traffic that it was kind of a chaotic scene. Lots of officers were responding. They were requesting additional units. We basically got up, left the training, went upstairs, grabbed our go bags, which is our evidence processing gear, and we all hopped in the car and headed out to 1605 Avoca Street to assist.
Okay, so once you arrived, what happened?
So I arrived on scene. Officers were still an active scene. I made contact with a couple of officers on the perimeter, one of them being Lieutenant Krabel. Tried to gather some additional details about what was going on. As we're kind of talking, it's communicated to us that there was still one individual inside, possibly one individual inside the house who was unaccounted for, the person that had been witnessed by Christy Fullman upon her arrival. As we're standing out there, one of the officers comes on over the radio and basically says, we have one in custody inside the house. It was at that time.
I'm going to pause you for just a second. One in custody in the house. Tell me very generically what that means.
That is just a very generic term. If someone is placed in handcuffs, detained, it's just one in custody to alert the other officers outside that there is one person detained inside the house.
Okay, and I want you to continue explaining. So you said that you heard over the radio one was in custody. And as you're explaining, I did set up State's Exhibit 4A, which is the diagram, if you want to point out areas that will assist you in your explanation. Okay, so after you heard we have one in custody, what did you do?
So I'm assuming you guys are all kind of familiar with the layout of this. This area on top would be Avoca Street. I was kind of gathered outside of the house up here. When we had heard that there was one in custody, I then entered through the front door into the enclosed porch and then into the house. I drew my service pistol to basically assist with the clearing of the home.
Okay, and so once you arrived inside the home, what did you do?
So officers were, they were in this bedroom on the back side of the house. So again, I came through here into that little hallway and into this bedroom.
What did you see when you walked into the bedroom?
So Officer Slight had one person detained in handcuffs. This individual was completely nude. He was on his left side, kind of facing the wall away from me. And he was more or less trying to talk to or communicate with this individual.
Okay. And did you know at that point who that individual was?
I did not. Officer Slight was calling this individual Tyler, kept using his name. I learned later that, again, Christy Fullman had informed officers that Tyler was the individual inside the house who was still unaccounted for. And I believe Officer Slight had some prior interaction.
Sustained. Ask another question.
Okay. So you had heard him referred to as Tyler. Did you learn his full identity at some point throughout the investigation?
Yes, he was positively identified as Tyler Dazey.
The defendant in this case.
That is correct.
Okay, so you saw him in the corner of the room, and you heard Officer Slight talking to him a bit. What did you do at that point?
Well, officers were still in the process of clearing the residence when I had arrived. The basement had been cleared and the main level was cleared. One thing that isn't shown on this diagram is, I'm going to try not to hit you with this laser. I'm really sorry if I do. So in this back bedroom, there is a door that leads to a stairwell that leads up to an attic. When I entered into the residence, that still hadn't been cleared. So there were multiple patrol officers who were in the process of clearing that attic. I basically stood by with Officer Slight while we waited for the house to be fully cleared.
Okay, and did the other officers clear the whole house?
Yes, and no one else was located inside the home.
Okay, so after that was completed, what happened next?
Mr. Dazey, Tyler, he was rolled over onto his side.
Okay, and what did you observe about him?
So again, he was fully nude, as I stated. When he was rolled over, Mr. Dazey did have an erection.
Okay, the objection's overruled. Go ahead, you can finish your answer.
So when he was rolled over, I noted, and as did the other officers in the room, that Tyler, his penis was fully erect, based off statements with Officer Slight. You know, he was the one who was handling Tyler. He made the comment that he felt a little wet.
Okay, did you have to help him up?
Yes, he was helped to his feet because he was handcuffed behind his back, yes.
Okay, did he make any mention of any injuries or anything of that nature?
He had some complaint about pain in his wrist. Officer Slight did readjust his handcuffs. He had, again, continued complaints about his wrist, but kind of stated that it always kind of hurts him.
Do you recall which wrist?
I believe it was his right wrist.
Okay, and so initially in that clip, Tyler was handcuffed. Can you explain to me why you did that?
So officers had entered into a very chaotic scene. There was a obvious homicide that had occurred within the home. They had located Tyler inside the house where this had happened. They really had no further details as to what had occurred, what his level of involvement in this was. The scene was still being searched. It was an active crime scene. It's just a step that is taken to secure all individuals until we kind of have a chance to take a deep breath, figure out what's going on, come up with a plan of attack.
Okay, so you said that he had been secured and helped up, and while Officer Slight was with Tyler getting him secured, what did you do during that time?
I stood by with him at one point. Once the residence was secured, I did step off into the master bedroom over here where Jennifer Dazey was located.
Okay, may I approach?
Yes.
No. Investigator, I'm handing you what I previously marked as State's Exhibit 9. Can you tell me what this is a photo of?
This is a photograph of the view of the master bedroom from the door, showing the bed and then the deceased body of Jennifer Dazey.
Is that how that bedroom appeared on January 18, 2024 when you were on scene at 1605 Avoca Street?
Yes.
Move to admit State's Exhibit 9.
No objection, Your Honor.
9 is admitted.
May I publish?
Yes.
Okay, can you use your laser pointer there and point out what you were looking at in this photo while you were on scene?
Yep, so this would be a view if you were standing in that door right here looking into the room. You can see the large bed. You can see Jennifer Dazey. You can't tell from these photos, but it was clear in person that she was missing 2 of her fingers on her right hand. One had been completely severed. The other one was just barely hanging on by a small amount of flesh. There was a significant amount of blood pooled around her neck. The way she was positioned and the positioning of the sheets kind of created like a pool, an area where the blood pooled and didn't really have much of a place to go. So she had significant injuries to her face and her neck, which was responsible for the large amount of blood that was pooling around her.
Okay. And at this point, you're still dealing with Tyler. You just went in for a cursory view of that scene. You hadn't started processing it at this point.
Exactly.
Okay. So you took a look of the bedroom, and did you return then to assist with Tyler?
I did.
What did you do with him?
So Tyler was placed into a Tyvek suit. We just knew based off the totality of the circumstances that we were not going to allow him to remain in the home while we processed the scene. Because he was naked and fully erect, we didn't, and it was cold out, we didn't want to parade him outside, again, due to the weather and, to protect him from being put in an embarrassing situation. We wanted to get him covered up. We were also concerned about any possible trace evidence on his person. Trace evidence would be any smaller evidence such as, dirt, small amounts of blood, hairs that could be damaged or brushed away easily. The decision was made at that point to put him in what we call a Tyvek suit. That's basically a full jumpsuit that kind of seals everything in. It's kind of what you see like hazmat guys wear. They've got the booties, zips up, covers up the hands. It's a hood and everything. And so we made the decision to put him in that one to fully cover him up so he wasn't naked when he left the home. And also if there was any physical evidence on him, that would then be left in the suit and couldn't be destroyed or tampered with.
Okay. So, and he was still in the bedroom, in his bedroom when you officers put him in the Tyvek suit?
That's correct.
Okay. And then where did you all go from there?
So again, the decision was made to bring him out of the home. He was escorted from his bedroom into the living room. And while we were standing in the living room, we more or less we're working to determine what exactly should happen with him, whether he should be brought directly to the law enforcement center for possible processing and an interview, or if he needed some additional medical attention.
Okay. And did he say anything to you while you were observing him, or did he say anything while you were observing him?
We asked him numerous times if he had taken any drugs or anything like that, if he was doing okay, if he was hurt. He denied taking any drugs, denied being hurt other than his wrist, which was previously addressed. He made the comment, I'm good, I'm good. One point he told us that he had to urinate. We asked him if he would be willing to wait for a little bit until we got him somewhere where he could do that. And basically he made the decision to urinate in a suit while we were standing in the living room.
So his appearance gave law enforcement some concerns that he needed to be checked out at the hospital.
Yes, there were numerous reasons why we were concerned. He didn't appear to grasp the gravity of the situation. The fact that there were multiple officers inside his house, that he was being detained in handcuffs, that he was being escorted out of his home, didn't really respond the way you would expect someone to respond. Did not ask a lot of questions about what was going on, why we were there, what was going on. We were unsure if he had, again, taken some sort of drug or some other substance, alcohol, something like that. If he had possibly witnessed something traumatic happened in the home, had something happened to him, had he witnessed something, was this some sort of PTSD type of response? We had no idea. We're not doctors. We just wanted to get him in front of some medical professionals who kind of better evaluate him.
Okay. So did you take him to the hospital?
I did not.
Okay. Do you know who did?
I'm not positive who transported him up there.
That's okay. Did you have any other personal contact with the defendant after he was taken to the hospital?
After he left the house, no.
Okay. So Tyler is now gone from the scene. What happened next?
We kind of regrouped inside the home, kind of talked about what needed to happen next, kind of talked about what everyone's observations were. We recognized that we were going to need to apply for a search warrant before we could process the scene. Basically, there's two ways that we're able to go into a private residence and remain there and basically do our police work. One is to be invited in and allowed to do that. The other would be to obtain a search warrant. We knew in this case it was going to require a search warrant, so we kind of met up, talked about what everyone had seen so that we had all the available information when it came to drafting the search warrant.
Okay, and you were the one who drafted all those search warrants, right?
Yes.
Before you did that, did you observe anything noteworthy in the house?
I did. So there was like a nylon sheath or a holster on the dining room table. Again, the dining room would be located here. At the time, there was a table in the corner. On that table was a black nylon sheath that said SOG, S-O-G. I was not familiar with that brand, but Officer Slight informed me that this is a...
Sustained. Ask another question.
Okay. You learned that matches some kind of an item.
Yeah, so through...
Well, yeah, I mean, you're asking what he was told by someone else. Ask another question.
Did you on your own do any investigation as to what that item was?
Yes, I performed numerous Google searches. I located a brand called SOG, which specializes in tactical knives and hatchets.
Okay, may I approach?
Yes.
10. Handing you what C is marked as State's Exhibit 10. Can you take a look through those? I think there's 3 there. Okay, and what are those photos of?
It's 3 different photos of basically the same thing. It's kind of an overall photograph of that dining room area. It's a closer view of that table in the corner of the dining room. And then it's a close-up shot of the nylon SOG brand tactical hatchet holster.
Okay, and does this appear the same way as it did to you on January 18, 2024?
Yes.
Move to admit State's Exhibit 10
No objection. 10 is admitted.
and publish.
Yes.
Okay, the first photo in that group, investigator, can you point out what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so again, this would be, the photographer was kind of standing in that, next to kind of those pillars that, the partial walls that separate the living room from the dining room. Looking back towards the kitchen, you can see the refrigerator in the background. Off to the right-hand side is that table that I previously referred to.
Okay, I'm sorry, did you point out what was on the table?
So it's tough to see from this view, but right here would be the SOG brand holster.
Okay, and can you just point out again on the diagram where this room is and where the pillars you referenced is?
So this would be where the photographer is standing, and then the shot is going to be shooting this way, kind of into the dining room, into the kitchen.
Okay, and then here's what is saying. Tell me about this photo.
Just a slightly different angle, closer view of the table. Off to the right-hand side is the small hallway in the bathroom.
Okay, and the item still on the table there?
Yep.
Okay, and what is this?
Again, that's the nylon sheath or the nylon holster, which was located on the table.
Okay, do you know what that is next to it there?
Dog toy.
Okay. All right, so we previously talked about you drafting the search warrants. Tell me exactly what you drafted search warrants for.
So I drafted 2 different search warrant applications. One was for the person of Tyler Dazey. We treat people's bodies as a separate residence, or we still need permission before we can process their body. As part of his search warrant application, I had requested that we be able to take any photographs of his person. I asked that we obtain any blood evidence that may be on his person, and then collect any trace evidence through either fingernail clippings or scrapings, obtain his known DNA from what we call known buccal swabs, obtain penile swabs from him, just process his body for any trace evidence. The second search warrant I drafted was for the actual residence at 1605 Avoca Street. That search warrant included a request to search and seize any blood evidence inside the home, any trace evidence, any latent fingerprints. And specifically, it named that we were searching and looking to seize any, sharp bladed instruments, anything that could possibly create the injuries from what we saw on Miss Dazey.
Okay, so let's get started then with the search warrant for the home at 1605 Avoca Street. May I approach?
Yes.
11. I'm handing you what I marked as State's Exhibit 11. It's a packet of photos. Can you look through all of them and just tell me in a very generic sense what they are?
So these are overall photographs of the interior of the residence at 1605 Avoca Street.
And do they appear in these photos how they appeared to you on January 18, 2024?
Yes.
Move to admit State's Exhibit 11.
No objection.
11 is admitted.
Publish, please.
Yes.
Okay, investigator, we'll just kind of go through these photos one by one. You can also reference the diagram here to show context to where they're at as you're discussing them, okay? In the first photo here, what are we looking at?
So the photographer would be inside the enclosed porch. That would be the front door leading into the living room. One thing to note here, it's a little bit hazy, but this would be a Ring doorbell that would be mounted on the front of the home.
Okay. And then looking in through that door, can you point out where those pillars are?
Yeah, so this would be the pillar on the north side of the room.
Okay. The next photo here, what are we looking at?
So this is an additional view of the living room. Again, this is the opposite pillar on the south side of the room. You can kind of see into the dining room area. This would be the door to the kitchen. This is a sectional L-shaped couch. Right here is something to note. What we believe to be the family dog was located kind of underneath these blankets.
Kind of wrapped up in the blanket?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, this photo, what are we looking at?
So this is, I misspoke, it's not a sectional or L-shaped couch. It's just kind of set up in an L, but this would be the kind of the corner of the home. The couch kind of goes in that L-shape. The dog would be located up here. This would be the coffee creamer that Christy Folman brought by for morning coffee and set on that end table.
Okay, and that chair that's next to that table, that's against the wall facing Avoca Street, the front of the home.
Yeah, so this is along the front of the home. This is along the south end of the home.
Okay. All right, what are we looking at in this photo?
Again, these pillars are just going to keep coming up as like kind of a frame of reference, but this would be the pillar. This would be our living room. This is the table where the nylon sheath was located. This would be the entrance into that small hallway that gave access to the bedrooms. This would be what we later learned was Jennifer Dazey's purse.
Okay, and if you're in that doorway and you went and you turned right, whose bedroom would you be going to?
Jennifer's.
If you turned left?
Tyler's.
All right. Okay, where are we at here, investigator?
Again, we're back in the dining room. Our table is directly off to right-hand side here into the kitchen. You can't see it, but you can access the basement through a door here, and you kind of access a back like mudroom pantry area through that little opening there.
Okay, do you have any knowledge as to what room Chrissy Fullman was in when officers were there?
My understanding is that she was located in the back of the house here.
Okay, in that pantry type area that you called it?
Mudroom area, yeah.
Okay. What are we looking at here?
This is just an additional view. You'd be standing right next to the refrigerator here. This would be the pantry mudroom and then the exit out of the home. If you walk into this room and take a quick left, that would be the way to exit the residence.
Okay. Then this photo?
Again, that's just the door leading to the outside from the back of the house.
Okay. And here?
So this is a shot into Tyler's bedroom. If you're standing next to the bathroom, which is right here, looking in, this would have been the view of the officers who first encountered Tyler. He would have been laying among these blankets, and he would have been facing the wall there.
Okay. And here?
This would be if you turned 180 degrees around, you're now looking back down the hallway into Jennifer's room.
Okay, that's the last one on that. I will be putting up more shortly, just so you know, okay? All right, so that was the general layout of the house. When you searched the residence more thoroughly, did you start in the kitchen?
I did.
Tell me about, did you observe anything in the kitchen? Anything collected for evidence?
Nothing collected for evidence there.
Okay. Observe anything that made you concerned or anything in the kitchen area whatsoever?
No blood evidence in there.
Any signs of a disturbance?
No.
Okay. After the kitchen then, what did you process next?
I believe the next place I went into was the bedroom where Tyler Dazey was located.
Okay, may I approach?
Yes.
12. Handing you what I marked as State's Exhibit 12. It's a group of just 3 photos. What are those photos of?
Photos of Tyler's room.
And that's how it appeared to you on January 18, 2024?
Yep.
Move to admit State's Exhibit 12.
No objection. 12 is admitted.
Okay. The first photo, can you tell me what we're looking at here?
Again, the photographer would be standing in the doorway. This is the makeshift bed. Tyler didn't actually have a bed in his room. He just kind of slept on various blankets and comforters. That's where he would have been located. Right here is the door to the attic, which I mentioned or noted previously.
Okay. And here?
Just an additional view. This is a large Cobalt brand tool chest that he had in his room.
And is there a backpack in there?
There is, yep.
Okay. Did you learn anything about that backpack?
Yeah, so once it came time to actually search the room, search the residence, located, I believe Captain Style located at least 2 knives in that bag.
Okay. Tactical gear, is that what you'd call it?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next photo?
Again, that's just an additional view of the large Cobalt tool chest, which he had in his room.
Okay. Did you see any blood splatter in that room?
I did not.
Did you see any disturbance of any sort?
No.
And did you locate anything that had identifying information for Tyler Dazey?
I did, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, it was clear that he was living in the room. There were there in the laundry baskets here. There were numerous shirts from Tri-State Quality Metals that had Tyler embroidered across the chest.
Okay. And was Tyler Dazey's wallet or driver's license also located within the home?
Within the home, yes.
Okay. Did you notice any blood splatter, or did you collect anything from that room?
We did collect some things from that room. We didn't collect any, again, there was no blood spatter within the room, but we did collect certain things from the room. We collected all the blankets that he was kind of using as a makeshift bed that he had kind of been wrapped up when we first came in contact with him.
Did any of those items appear to have any blood on them?
Not that we observed, no.
Okay. So after you went there, did you assist in the search of the bathroom?
I did.
Okay, may I approach?
Yes.
13. Handing you what I previously marked as State's Exhibit 13. Take a look through that group. And what is this a group of photos of?
Just some additional photos of the bathroom.
Okay, and is that how it appeared to you on January 18, 2024?
Yes.
Move to admit State's Exhibit 13.
No objection. 13 is admitted.
Okay, we'll go through these one by one again. Tell me what we're looking at in this photo.
We're just looking into the bathroom from the hallway. We kind of noted that there were several towels that were kind of tossed down on the floor, kicked against the bathtub. Looked like someone had showered and just kind of left the towels there.
Okay, so the shower curtain is obviously where the shower is located.
Yep.
Where is the toilet and sink located if you're looking at this photo?
So it's a really small bathroom. If you walk in and kind of turn off to your right, you're going to locate the sink, and then the toilet's kind of tucked in the corner.
Okay, so the toilet is right behind that door.
Yes.
Okay. All right, what are we looking at here then?
So again, that's the sink. We can see the tub over here. We can see the bathroom over here.
Okay. Does it appear from this that there's some kind of shelf above the toilet?
Yes.
All right, next one.
So this is an additional photo of the shelving unit. If a man stood to use the toilet, they would be kind of facing those shelves. Those shelves would kind of be at varying levels, kind of like shoulder length or shoulder height, head height, stuff like that. This is a SOG brand tactical Tomahawk that was resting on the shelves. It was the top part, the actual hatchet was, or the Tomahawk was on the shelving unit, but a majority of the actual handle was kind of just left dangling off, almost as though someone had just like quickly set it down and it was right there.
Okay. All right, and then this photo?
So again, it's just an additional photo of how the tactical Tomahawk had been set down on top of the shelf. Again, this just kind of better demonstrates how much of that handle was hanging out and how it's almost just like, resting on there. And again, the toilet would be directly below it. If a man was standing in front of the toilet to use it, basically you'd get poked with that hatchet the way it was sticking out. It's a very tight squeeze in that bathroom.
Okay, what's that item next to the blade of the hatchet?
So this is just some sort of vape. Again, whether it was nicotine or THC, I don't have an answer to that, but it was some sort of vape device.
Okay. Then here, what are we looking at?
Just an additional photo, again, showing the top of that tactical Tomahawk, a better shot of the vape pen or the vape device.
Okay. So did you collect that hatchet then?
Yeah, the first person into the bathroom actually collected it, but I assisted with the packaging of that hatchet.
Okay, so you assisted with the packaging of the hatchet. What did you do with it after it was packaged?
Once it was packaged, it was set aside for transport to the law enforcement center and then further processing at the state lab.
Okay, at the state crime lab?
Yes.
Okay, and did you package it up and send it to them in its entirety, or did you do any testing on that hatchet first?
No, based off what we were seeing inside the house, we believed there would be some trace evidence on there. When it comes to evidence, kind of the more you kind of handle stuff, tamper with it, move it around, the more likelihood you have of destroying the integrity of that evidence. Something like that, we just want to put it in a box, seal it up, and let someone with even additional training and experience kind of run their tests on there.
So when you sent it to the lab, what kind of testing were you anticipated they would do on this item?
We made some requests for a couple of different kinds of testing. We wanted them to test for DNA and blood evidence, and we also asked that they test for latent fingerprints or anything like that might be on there.
Okay, very good. May I approach?
Yes.
Okay, I'm handing you what I have marked as State's Exhibit 14 and State's Exhibit 15. I'm going to hand you 15 first. What is 15?
So 15 is the SOG brand nylon sheath that keeps being mentioned, which was located on the dining room table.
Okay, and I would move to admit State's Exhibit 15.
No objection. 15 is admitted.
And then 14, I realize I put the sticker on the outside of this evidence box, okay? Tell me what is contained within the box.
So inside that box is a sealed SOG tactical Tomahawk, which is sealed in heat seal plastic. Also in there are some swabs which were collected by the DCI laboratory in relation to their testing, which are sealed in a separate package.
Okay, and there's tape and things, you guys always package evidence to ensure the chain of custody, so no foreign hands, so to speak, are on it?
That's correct.
Okay, I would move to admit State's Exhibit 14.
And just look at the box.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm gonna have him open it,
Okay.
so I just didn't want to touch it myself, so I was gonna have him open it. Do you want to see it? Oh, that's fine. We can take the label off. We can put a new label on the inside. Okay.
Your Honor, just for the record, no objection as long as the box doesn't go back.
Exhibit 14 is admitted.
Okay. If you want to open that, investigator, and then when you are done, can the witness step down to show the jury judge?
Yes.
Okay. If you could step down as soon as
Okay.
you're done and bring both items and show them to the jury.
So this would be the tactical Tomahawk, which we located in the bathroom. Again, this wasn't how it was initially packaged. It was kind of repackaged for purposes of presentation to you guys today. This would have been what was collected, packaged, and sent to the lab for testing. And then here, Exhibit 15, this again would be that nylon holster, which would have been located on the kitchen table. And again, so it was pretty evident to us that these belong together.
Okay. And then, may I approach again, Judge?
Yes.
I put the sticker. Okay, and then we'll just put them in that box. Sorry, just give me 1 second, okay?
Please take that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you sent that item in for testing and you continue to process the bathroom. Did you collect any items from the bathroom or any specimens?
Yeah, so we again, we collected that vape. We collected those towels that were kind of balled up on the ground in front of the tub. So again, it looked as though the last person who showered may have tossed those down once they were wrapped up. There was a towel hanging on the towel rack, which was also seized. We did seize the shower curtain. There was kind of a pinkish reddish substance on it. Didn't look like it was quite consistent with blood, but whenever we're processing a crime scene, we would rather take more and find out we don't need it, or find out later it wasn't blood than leave evidence at the scene. We also collected a swab from the sink. Inside the sink, there was what looked like a blood droplet on the sink, and so that dried blood would have been collected. We also collected a swab from the area around the bathtub drain. We attempted to remove the drain to kind of access the P-trap to maybe access any trace evidence. We were unable to, so we had to settle for kind of swabbing that area to hopefully collect any trace evidence.
Okay, and you also saw items that you swabbed in the living room and the hallway?
Yes.
Okay. May I approach?
Yes.
Joey. 16. I'll first hand you State's Exhibit 16. Take a look at those photos.
Yep.
Okay, and what generally is depicted within those photos?
Just kind of the areas that where swabs were collected when we processed the bathroom.
Okay, and then number 17.
Okay.
What are those?
Would have been possible blood spatter, which was located in the living room, dining room, and hallway.
Okay, and these photos looked as the scene did to you on January 18, 2024?
Yes.
Move to admit State's Exhibit 16 and 17.
16 and 17 are both admitted.
May I publish?
Yes.
All right, investigator. You were talking, I believe, about the item depicted in this photo. Can you explain it just again?
So this is the shower curtain. This is kind of that pinkish reddish substance that was on there. We seized the whole curtain just in case, but looking at it closely, it certainly looked much more like maybe nail polish or paint or something than blood. It's just too bright and pink.
Okay. And then here in this photo?
Yeah, so this is the bathroom sink. Placard number 9 marks the dried blood droplet in the sink. That photo is kind of washed out. I can't point out exactly where that blood droplet is in the photo, but there was one present there, and that was collected.
And it was close somewhere to the drain, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then this one, I'm sorry, these photos are not great. But what's in this one?
That's the bathtub drain. Again, the area that we kind of swabbed was just kind of around there with the hopes of possibly collecting some trace evidence.
Okay. Okay, that's it. And then we'll move on to Exhibit 17. What are we looking at here?
We are back in the living room. There is some dried blood on the floor by number 2. Number 3 was just what appeared to be a fiber. It was just, we didn't know whether or not it would have been trace evidence or not, so it was placarded. Number 1 indicates the deceased dog that we located on the couch, Echo.
What about number 4 in the back of that photo?
Yep, so number 4 is some additional dried blood that was located on the floor. Again, this is kind of those pillars that we keep referencing. That pillars that kind of separates the living room from the dining room.
Okay. And then this photo?
So this is just outside of Jennifer's room. The carpeted area would be the entrance to Jennifer Dazey's room. Both 5 and 6. Number 5 is more visible. Dried blood on the floor. 6 also marked a spot of dried blood on the floor.
Okay, so you collected swabs from those items?
Yes.
Okay, can you just explain how you do that?
Yeah, so anytime we're dealing with blood spatter on items that are too big for us to just fully collect, again, something like a hatchet, we'll just pick it up and preserve all of that. Well, we're not going to dig up the floor to send that off. So we have to collect the blood. So what we do is we'll take oversized cotton swab, we'll kind of wet it with some sterile water. And then as you rub that stain, it kind of, I guess you could say, rehydrates the blood, and then it transfers from the floor onto that swab. That swab is then placed in a box, a small box. That box is then sealed up in a envelope, and then that is how we collect that swab. We can then send that swab off to the lab, and they're able to do their testing with the evidence on the tip of the swab.
Okay, I think now is a good time to kind of chat about that preliminary investigation and sending items to the lab. Okay, the Iowa Crime Lab sources our entire state, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so every police department will send items to the Iowa Crime Lab.
that's correct.
Okay, so when you are initially investigating a case, can you pick up everything and send it to the Iowa Crime Lab?
No, they have a general rule, which isn't a hard and fast rule, but it's something that they certainly try to go by. They allow you to send 10, what's called 10 probative items. So items which could contain trace evidence that would be, that they would need to run some tests on. So if you go to a crime scene, something like this, you may collect 30 plus swabs. You may collect, numerous shirts, shoes, all of that. Well, they don't have the resources to test 30, 40, 50 pieces of evidence for every single crime that gets submitted to them, because again, they service every single police department in the state. So they kind of have that set 10 rule. So after we do our initial processing, we kind of have a meeting, talk about what evidence did we collect, what value could we gain if we send these off to be tested, what are the pros, what are the cons, and then we kind of come up with that list of 10 that we want to send off for testing.
And some of those items were these swabs and the hatchet.
Yes.
And why would that be?
Well, again, based off what we saw on scene, the hatchet certainly appeared to be associated with the crime, and we believe there could be some significant trace evidence on there that could be helpful in the prosecution of this case. Additionally, we want to test those blood swabs throughout the house to verify who that blood belongs to, either confirm, yes, it is Jennifer's blood, or it belongs to an unidentified individual who possibly was leaving the scene and was bleeding as they left.
Okay. So you collected those swabs. What else did you observe in that living room?
Again, we kind of touched on that.
We don't need this up. Did you see the dog in the living room?
Yeah, we touched on Echo. He was, again, kind of wrapped up in some sheets. So only part of his back was kind of visible. You could see there was blood. You could kind of see his curly golden hair. We collected that blanket that was he was wrapped up in, because it was covered in blood. And then we were kind of able to better examine Echo and his injuries.
Okay, may I approach?
Yes.
18. Handing you what I marked as State's Exhibit 18. Can you look through those? What are those photos of?
Those would be pictures of Echo.
Okay, is that how he appeared to you on January 18, 2024?
Yes.
Move to admit State's Exhibit 18.
No objection.
18 is admitted.
And then may I publish?
Yes.
Okay, the first photo in group 18.
So this is more or less how Echo was positioned upon officer's arrival. And he's kind of wrapped up in that black and white blanket. Again, his golden fur's kind of visible coming out of the top of that blanket.
Okay, the next photo.
And that's Echo verifying no signs of forced entry. Part of that involves looking at windows, stuff like that. Again, their screens were intact, windows were intact, no signs of any forced entry through any of the windows.
Okay. Was there any money located?
Yes. So In one of those photos, I pointed out Jennifer's purse. That was kind of just sitting out there in plain view. I did go through her purse. There was some small amount of cash, I think under $100 in there. There was a check written out that was in the purse. But yeah, that was all there and present.
Okay, wasn't there money located in other portions of the house too?
Yep, so in her bedroom, there was a significant amount of cash.
Okay, sorry, and I'm sorry if I missed that.
That's fine.
Okay, so let's move on to Jennifer's room. You told us about your general observations, but you did go back and process the room more thoroughly, correct?
Yes.
Okay, may I approach?
Yes.
19. Handing you what I marked as State's Exhibit 19. Take a look through those. And what is this a group of photos of?
It would be additional photos of Jennifer's room.
Okay, of the master bedroom.
Yes, of the master bedroom.
And is that how it appeared to you on January 18, 2024?
Yes.
Move to admit State's Exhibit 19.
No objection. 19 is admitted.
May I publish?
Yes.
Okay, investigator. And if you could also use where it's helpful, the blown up diagram to show the jury where these photos are in perspective in that room,
Yep.
if that assists you. What are we looking at in the first photo of this exhibit?
So this is the nightstand next to Jennifer's bed. If we're looking at this master bedroom, the bed's kind of in this upper corner. The actual nightstand is kind of on here along the wall.
Okay. And then this photo?
So this photo is important because this is a severed finger, which is resting on the nightstand next to her bed.
Okay, the next one.
Just an additional photo of a severed finger.
Okay. All right, and then what are we looking at here?
So this is kind of in more graphic detail what I saw initially walking into the room. This is kind of where the blood on Miss Dazey had pooled. It's kind of difficult to see, but we can see a deep laceration or some sort of injury to her cheek. That yellow stuff is actually cheek fat. And again, there's injuries up and down the side of her head and her neck.
Okay, the next one.
An additional photo. Again, this is, as I described before, this finger is completely missing. This one is just barely hanging on by a tiny bit of flesh. And again, it's that injury is a little bit more visible on her cheek here.
Okay, and here?
Another photo kind of documenting the amount of blood that we saw on scene, additional documentation of her injuries as she laid in bed.
Here?
Additional photos of her severed fingers.
Okay, and tell me why one arm or hand is in a paper bag at this point.
So we're required to have a medical examiner come in and assist with an investigation into any unattended death. The decision was made that she was going to be sent for an autopsy, and it's common practice to package hands to preserve any trace evidence that may be found underneath a victim's fingernails if they were fighting back and maybe it scratched the offender. That, in theory, trace evidence could be underneath some fingernails. So what we don't want to do is just send them off there and stuff gets bumped, stuff gets lost in the large bag. At least this way, if anything were to come off the hands, it's all contained within that bag.
Okay. What are we looking at in this photo?
So this doesn't quite capture how much blood spatter was on the wall, but this would have been the wall where her the head of her bed was. So her head would have been resting along here, and this would have been the north wall of the bedroom. And this is just one photo that kind of documents some blood spatter on the walls.
There's I don't know what those are called, a boppy pillow or something of that nature there in the corner. You see that?
Yeah.
What did you locate underneath that? Was her cell phone underneath it?
Yes, her cell phone was in bed with her. Yep.
Okay. Here, what are we looking at?
This is just some additional blood spatter on the walls.
Okay, and you collected items from the walls as well?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's it for that. We can take those down. Okay. And all those items, not all of them, the items that you collected and submitted to the lab were sent away. The rest of the items you kept in evidence at the police department, correct?
Yes.
In case they were needed at some other time?
Yes.
Okay. May we approach?
Yes. Okay, folks, we're going to take a real short break, a restroom break, 5 or 10 minutes. Remember the admonition, report back to the jury room.
All rise for the jury.
I put the mic on quick. Now you guys can hear me saying that. Phoebe just tried to scratch this chair. Ah! We had the TV on in the room, in the lounge, and I was obviously watching the trial, so I heard me. Oh yeah, the little one Winchester gets the zoomies. Not you so much. You're pretty chilled at bedtime. But literally their routine is so strict at night to the point that, like, in order for it to be bedtime, like we are getting into bed, Vaughn has to go and individually say goodnight to every single one of them. And if I go to bed after him, then they scream because he didn't say goodnight at the right time. My Phoebe became Phoebes because he's male. Vaughn, listen to this. My Phoebe Phoebes because he is a male. Luckily, Ross and Chandler Bing were the correct sex. I'll tell you, out of all the cats that I want to collect from friends, there will never be a Ross. Unless it's like a ginger or something. I don't know. No, I like gingers. They're just shouty. Ross would probably be like, maybe like a rat. I don't mind breathing my own breath, thanks. Let me try and, oh, she's trying to Bee's super cute. Are you just so cute? You are so, so cute. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You need your own mic as well? Because that purr. I was also just giving a little bit of a buffer on the trial. Because if I need to skip, then we kind of need a delay. But it looks like they're still on short break. Now we're live. Wow, Phoebe. You really are putting on quite the little show there. Which way is this? Is this one not mirrored? Where are you? Oh my goodness.
Examination of that witness, when they're
Oh, wait.
finished, will then resume. Please be seated, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, the parties have agreed to just pause on the examination of Investigator Hoff. They have another witness who is here that they've agreed to take out of order. We'll have the examination of that witness. When they're finished, we'll then resume with Investigator Hoff. Do you want to call that next witness, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. We'd call Dr. Adam White.
Can I have you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Go ahead and have a seat there. And if you would state your name and spell it for the record, please.
Michael Adam White, Michael Adamwhite.
Go ahead, counsel.
Thank you. Dr. White, you actually go by Adam, do you not?
Correct.
And that's because?
My father's name is Michael, too.
Keeps you guys separated. What is your occupation?
I'm a veterinarian.
How long have you been a veterinarian?
Graduated in 2011.
Where do you practice?
Vanderloo and White Animal Hospital
Now, how long have you been practicing there?
since 2012.
Are you board certified?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 27. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
State what that is.
Just a state of Iowa veterinary license to practice.
I move to admit Exhibit 27.
No objection.
27 is admitted.
Are you in good standing with the veterinary board?
Yes.
Now, on January 18th of this year, do you recall Officer Slight of the Dubuque Police Department coming to your office?
I do.
Can you just recall what he was there for?
The police officer was bringing animal in for examination.
Was the dog deceased?
Upon arrival, it was, deceased.
Can you describe the dog briefly?
Small to medium dog, 10 to 15 pounds. And it was brown, short hair on it.
Okay, were you asked to examine the dog?
I was.
Did you in fact examine that dog?
I did.
Can you tell the jury what the purpose of the examination was?
To look for any evidence of injury as to why the dog would be deceased.
Could you walk through your exam just briefly and explain what it is you did?
Yep. Dog was in stiff rigor mortis upon presentation. Dog was covered in red sticky substance. We cleaned the red substance
Of it.
Yep, it's on the right side of the skull. You do have an opening in the skin. Not much subcutaneous tissue to go through, but it's open. You can see white material in there. That's a bone fragment. And then immediate to the next to that white material would be the tissue in the brain cavity there.
Did you have to do anything to expose that wound in order to examine it more closely?
Just cleaning and clipping away hair.
You shaved the hair back to get to the wound?
Correct.
Did you probe that wound at all to check the depth?
I did. I explored it just to see if it was full thickness through the skull, and it went into the brain tissue.
After your examination, were you able to determine the cause of death?
I would suspect it was trauma to the head.
Would it be a sharp force trauma?
It would take a blunt or penetrating trauma to create a hole in the skull like that.
All right. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Let me show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 14. Would the backside of that instrument be consistent with the wound that you observed in the photograph?
Yes.
You can't say for certain that this caused it, but this is certainly consistent. Is that correct?
Correct.
May I approach again, Your Honor?
Yes.
Let me show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 29. Do you recognize that document?
I do.
What is that?
The medical notes I made after the examination.
And that's your notes for sure?
My handwriting, my signature, yep.
I would move to admit Exhibit 29.
No objection.
29 is admitted.
Was that the end of your involvement in terms of examining this particular animal?
Correct.
Thank you. I don't have anything further.
Cross-examination.
Thank you. How you doing today, doctor?
Good.
Good. Never gonna accept another dog from the police again? Is the injury consistent with being struck one time?
Yes.
And would have death likely been instantaneously?
Likely instant.
Okay. No further questions. Thank you, Doctor.
Nothing further.
Thank you, sir. You're free to go.
I'd recall then Investigator Isaiah Hoff.
Thank you, Doctor.
Come on back up this way, please. Just go ahead and have a seat. You've already taken an oath. Do you understand you're still under oath?
I do.
Okay, very good. Counsel, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Judge. Where we left things, we had just been talking about all of the items you collected and the ones you selected to send for testing.
Yes.
Okay, so after that, you packaged the items, you decided which ones you wanted to do. Did you guys conduct any follow-up investigation?
We did. And again, we had kind of touched on this before as far as the additional money in the home. Again, prior to leaving, we searched the.
I'm talking about after, like, did you guys do any neighborhood canvas? What did you do to follow up on your investigation of the scene?
Gotcha. So,
Sorry.
Yes, the neighborhood canvas was completed after the fact.
Okay, and you talked to family members, you talked to various people?
Yep. Part of any homicide investigation is, we kind of talk about their circle of contact. Getting to know the victim helps us better understand what would have happened if we can kind of understand the victim. And so part of that is speaking with roommates, family members, friends, ex-boyfriends, anything like that.
Okay, and in anyone that you talked to or followed up with or canvassed, did anyone have any direct knowledge about what had happened to Jennifer?
No.
Okay. Did you learn from your canvassing about the makeup of the household members?
Yes.
Okay, what was that?
So we knew from speaking with numerous people who lived in the area that Jennifer had lived there for several years, that Tyler had recently moved in with her, 6 or 7 months ago, and that those were the two that were currently living in the home.
Okay, any complaints of any noises or fights or any dramatics at 1605 Avoca from your neighborhood canvas?
No, that's part of our canvas, is to ask if anyone heard any disturbance or anything like that. No one was reporting that.
That primarily Tyler and Jenny kept to themselves?
Yeah, everyone kind of described them as good neighbors. They knew who they were aware of them. No one really had said that they were super close with them, but everyone kind of knew Jennifer and Tyler lived there.
Okay. And were interviews done with Jennifer's other children, Nick and Kylie?
Yes.
Okay. You didn't do those interviews though, did you?
I did not, no.
Okay. Did you though, as an investigator with the Criminal Investigations Division, follow up on information obtained from officers from the interviews with Nick and Kylie?
Yeah, so Lieutenant Krabel, I believe, interviewed Nick Fry. Anytime we do an interview with anyone, we want to fact check them. Are they telling us the truth on stuff? Nick had kind of laid out what he had did the night prior, what he, on the 17th into the 18th, and kind of how he learned of his mother's passing. So I was kind of tasked with verifying his statement to law enforcement. For those of you who aren't familiar, Dubuque has a very extensive camera system here in town. It's kind of, cameras are kind of mounted at every major intersection. And if we have descriptions of individuals, vehicles, time frame, stuff like that, it's relatively easy to kind of track them around town and plot their movements around town. So I utilize those traffic camera systems to follow up on Nick's movements on the 17th into the 18th.
Okay. And there's been previous discussion about some cameras located at 1605 Avoca Street. Were you able to identify Nick on that camera footage?
I was.
Okay, tell me about that.
So we were able to pick him up on city traffic camera footage coming down Asbury Road. He had mentioned that he stopped off at the Dubuque Advertiser to pick up some newspapers. The way he traveled on cameras was consistent with that. We had him operating his red pickup truck. We were able to track that basically all the way into the neighborhood where at 1605 Avoca Street. We were then able to, through a search warrant, obtain ring camera footage from the front door at 1605 Avoca Street. And that footage shows him arriving at the home on the evening of the 17th around 7:45 p.m.
Okay, and he had a stack of advertisers with him?
Yes, and those newspapers were located on the couch in the living room.
Okay, and did he leave, according to the ring footage, around 8 p.m. or something of that nature?
Yeah, around 8:05. He kind of, I think he steps out to let the dog out and in, let Echo out and in, and then he leaves the house at approximately 8:05 that night.
Okay, was Tyler home at that time?
Based off his statement, Tyler would have been home, yes.
Okay. And then Nick had said that he had gone out of town. Did you follow up on that through traffic camera and the things?
Yep, so Nick's vehicle was parked at 1605 Avoca Street when we showed up there. In speaking with him, he had said he stopped by that evening because the check engine light on his vehicle was on, which is why he needed to use his mother's GMC crossover vehicle. So again, we were able to pick up that GMC crossover vehicle, leaving the area of 1605 Avoca Street. Shortly after 8:05, when we know he left the house, we were then able to track that, through the intersection at 22nd and Central, all the way up to the 2500 block of Jackson Street where Nick lives.
Okay, and then from there?
The car was on camera all night. We were able to watch it. The car didn't move. Around 5:30, 5:35 in the morning, Nick comes out of the house, turns the car on to get it warmed up. After 5 minutes or so, he hops on the car, heads south through town, hops on 150, 161, and continues out of town down towards Cedar Rapids.
Okay, and when he arrived at Avoca Street or the law center, when he was notified about what was going on, did he leave an out-of-town work project to come back?
Based off his statement, yes.
Okay. So you mentioned that ring footage of Nick. There were ring cameras on the house, right?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
Andy, what I marked as State's Exhibit 20. What are those generally?
Be exterior photos at 1605 Avoca Street.
Okay. And that's how it appeared to you on January 18, 2024?
Yes.
Move to admit State's Exhibit 20.
No objection.
20 is admitted?
May I publish?
Yes.
Okay, investigator. First photo in Exhibit 20. What are we looking at?
So if you're standing on the walkway up to 1605 Avoca Street, facing the front of the house, this would kind of be that entrance into that enclosed porch.
Okay. And here?
This would be a view from inside the enclosed porch, looking at the front door leading into the living room. Again, as mentioned in that previous photo, this would be the ring camera that's mounted on the door.
And I think it's previously been referred to as a ring doorbell.
Yes.
Okay, can you explain generically, if you know, how one of these cameras would function?
You purchase one of these cameras, you mount it, and you have to download the Ring app with that, and that gives you access to kind of view the footage. These cameras are, you can set how much motion triggers the camera, but they're often triggered by some sort of motion or by someone ringing the doorbell.
Okay, and in order to have access to that footage and your experience as a law enforcement with ring footage in your investigations, is that something you have to pay to access?
Yes, so there's two different ways you can kind of use these Ring cameras. The first would just be to more or less live stream them. If you were to install one of these at your house, download the app, create an account, if you were to pull up that app, you could kind of view it live. But you are required to purchase a subscription plan if you want to access the cloud storage. So if you don't pay, I believe it's like $49.99 a year, none of the footage will be saved.
Okay. The next photo?
So this is the back of the residence. The photographer would be standing in the driveway. These are steps leading up to that rear door. Up here is a Ring camera.
Okay. And this?
Just a closer view of the Ring motion camera.
Okay, so we briefly discussed that front camera, and we also talked about footage that you reviewed from that front camera. What about this camera?
So Corporal Stair obtained a search warrant requesting all saved Ring footage that was stored in the cloud. Ring did provide us with any and all activity from the front doorbell. Ring did not supply us with any footage from this rear camera.
Okay, and in your training experience, what reasons could be that there wasn't any footage provided?
I'm going to object to speculation.
Well, she's asking what reasons could there be, not what happened here. You can answer.
There's three main reasons why footage wouldn't be provided. The first would be that the camera is not plugged in and is not functional, therefore wouldn't be in a position to capture any motion. The second would be that there was no motion or no activity at that back door, therefore nothing would be triggered and nothing would be saved to the cloud. The third reason would be that the subscriber is not paying for cloud storage. Part of Ring's subscription is it's like $49.99 for one camera and then like $99.99 for unlimited amounts of camera. So a subscriber could make the decision, hey, the front door is what I'm most concerned with. I only want to pay $50 a month. Therefore, I'm just going to kind of utilize this as a live camera, and I'm not so much concerned about storing of the footage.
Okay. May I approach?
Yes.
Want this whole thing?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I'm gonna do this. And
Yeah, that's fine.
all right, I'll first hand you what I marked as State's Exhibit 21. Is this the certificate of authenticity that Ring provided you, accompanying the footage that they provided you from the front camera at 1605 Avoca Street?
Yes.
Okay, so this certifies that they are authentic, correct?
Yeah, so anytime people will provide us with business records footage or something like that, someone will actually go through and sign a letter saying, what I'm sending you is true and accurate and everything that you requested.
Okay, and there was a clarification within that document later with follow-up requests about this second camera and them stating, we provided you everything we have.
That's correct. Again, we did reach back out to Ring in an attempt to verify why no footage was provided from that rear camera. We were told by Ring, we have provided any and all available footage saved to the cloud associated with this account.
Okay, move to admit State's Exhibit 21.
So.
Any objection to 21?
No, Your Honor.
21 is admitted.
Okay, I am now showing you a flash drive that contains a Ring camera clip from January 17th and a Ring camera clip from January 18th. Have you reviewed all the Ring camera clips that were provided to you?
Yes.
Okay, and have you reviewed clips from both January 17th and January 18th?
Yes.
Okay, was there one clip at around 10 p.m. that Jennifer appeared on the footage?
Yes.
On the 17th, excuse me.
That's correct.
And then one clip on the 18th at approximately 8:38 a.m. that shows Miss Fulman entering the residence.
That's correct.
And were those I would move to admit State's Exhibit 22 and 23.
22 and 23 are both admitted. No.
What do they have?
Oh, I'm going to say this wrong. I think it's like Greenwich time, something to that effect. But basically, it's like a standard time, and we have to do the conversion on the timestamps to Central Standard Time.
Okay. Okay. You reviewed this clip and the timestamp on it was 10 o'clock PM. Is that correct?
Once the conversion was done, yes.
Okay. And who is in this photo walking out the door?
That is Jennifer Dazey.
Okay. Okay, and that's the end of that clip. You didn't cut it down or anything like that, correct?
No, again, those clips are motion activated, so they send what they send.
Yep, so it depends on what's happening, whether or not they trigger or not, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and are they a forward projecting camera? Do they project forward or backwards?
Forward.
Okay. Okay, we'll play Exhibit 23. And you know this is 8:38 a.m. on January 18th?
Yes,
Okay. Is that Ms. Fulman walking in?
it is.
Okay, and that was the end of that clip?
Yes.
After that, who's the next person that's seen on camera going into that house?
Officer Hesselbacher arriving.
And Ms. Fulman's testimony in her statement to police was that she stood inside the door. Would that be a reason why the camera didn't re-trigger?
Yeah.
To show her exit or anything like that?
Yeah, so the way, from the pictures, you can kind of see there's a storm door and then there's that main door. Watching the video, you can kind of see that end of the door doesn't fully completely close. So it would almost be as though she's kind of sandwiched in that little triangular space that's created by the partially open storm door and then the opened or partially opened wood door leading to the house.
Okay. And at least from the footage on that camera, no one is seen going in or out of that house between 10 p.m. on January 17th and 8:38 a.m. on January 18th.
That's correct.
You previously testified that Ring said there's no footage from the backdoor camera. So did you investigate any potential entry at that, I should say the side door entry?
Yeah, so we were able to verify that that door was locked upon our arrival on the 18th. And again, that, it's visible in body camera footage and everything that that door was locked when we arrived.
Okay, and you pulled a clip from body camera footage to show the condition of the deadbolt as well as the door handle?
Yes.
Okay, and how did you confirm that the position the deadbolt was in a locked position?
So in all the body camera, any body camera of officers that were in that back room that captured the door, that deadbolt is in the thumb lock is in a thumb knob's in a vertical position. I had reached out to the property owner, it's either Ron or Rod Smith, and talked with him about that. He said he's familiar with all the locks that he installs in his property. He said if that lock is vertical, if the thumb lock is vertical, that deadbolt is locked and engaged.
Okay, may I approach?
Yes.
Handing you what I marked as State's Exhibit 24. And what is that, investigator?
So this is a screenshot of Captain Stiles' body camera. It shows his time in that back room. On the left-hand side, you can kind of see the doorknob and the deadbolt lock. You can see that the lock is engaged in a vertical position.
Okay. Move to admit State's Exhibit 24.
No objection. 24 is admitted.
Publish, please.
Yes.
All right. Show the jury, please, what you were referencing.
So again, this is just a still image of a body camera. This is the deadbolt. Again, it's clearly in the vertical position, that style of lock. If it's in that vertical position, it would show that that deadbolt is engaged. Again, this knob lock has the electrical tape on, which I believe was already explained why that was relevant.
Okay. All right. So other than the lock, any observations on the exterior in that area or the outside of the house that you observed to determine whether or not there was any forced entry or any disturbance or any other access point?
Yeah, there was a door leading from the steps going down into the basement that led to the backyard. It was clear that there was absolutely none of the snow outside of that door had been disturbed. No one had come in and out of that door.
Okay, hold on one second. I'm going to put up another photo for you to show them what you're talking about, okay? I'm going to, going to put up there Exhibit 3. Okay. There's two doors in this photo. Which door are you talking about first?
So what I am referring to is the door that's located right here that leads directly out into the backyard from the steps leading down into the basement. Again, there was snow in the backyard, absolutely no footprints coming or going from that door.
Okay. And then anything else that you did to look around the outside to see if anyone else had accessed?
Yeah, again, as previously mentioned, we always want to check to see if windows and screens are in place, which they were in this case. No evidence of any footprints in the snow underneath any of the windows. Again, this is that locked back door where the deadbolt is engaged in that back mudroom pantry area.
Okay. Any evidence of a disturbance from what you saw?
No.
Okay. Now, investigator, as part of your investigation, you have reviewed some phone calls the defendant made in the past couple of months, correct?
Yes.
Did the defendant ever point to anyone else who could be responsible for this?
Yes. So there were all calls made from the Dubuque County Jail are recorded. All inmates are notified of this before they make the phone call. We have software that allows us to review those phone calls. Part of any investigation is kind of monitoring those phone calls, see who are they calling, what are they talking about, are they making any admissions. Back in March end of March, I think March 30th, Mr. Dazey made at least 2 phone calls, one to his brother, Nick, and then one to his Aunt Katie. In these phone calls, he had identified his ex-girlfriend, Tessa, as having been at the front door of the house on the day of the murder and of being present inside the home while he was being detained by officers.
Did you, well, first, let's talk about prong 1 here. Was Tessa ever in the residence
No,
when law enforcement was there?
no,
Okay. Did anyone see her outside the residence?
no.
Okay. Now, the second portion, did you follow up on his claim regarding Tessa?
I did.
And was she, I'm assuming you talked to her.
Yes.
Okay. How did you eliminate her as a potential suspect?
I sat down and I did an interview with her. She had stated that it had been several years, 4 or 5 years since she last spoke with Tyler, denied having any knowledge that anyone was living, or that Tyler and his mother were living at 1605 Avoca Street, and denied any knowledge of any involvement.
Okay, so she didn't even know that he lived there?
According to her statement, no.
Okay. Was there any other evidence that would have connected her to this crime?
No.
All right. I have no additional questions, investigator. Thank you.
Cross-examination. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and do yours first. Investigator Hoff, I have just a couple of questions for you with regards to the ring cameras. On direct examination, you had testified that there were only 3 ways in which that camera in the backyard wouldn't produce footage.
Yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with the Ring app? You talked about downloading it to a phone and opening it on a phone.
Yeah, I have some knowledge of the app, yes.
Okay. To your knowledge, is it also possible to go into the settings on a camera in your app and turn off motion sensitive and the various recording functions for a particular camera governed by that app?
Yeah, again, I had mentioned that you have the ability to kind of adjust how sensitive it is, what triggers it, stuff like that, yes.
Okay. So somebody, in addition, there's a 4th way. somebody could go into the camera and go into that particular camera's functions and stop that camera from recording, couldn't they? That is true, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the app isn't just limited to one phone. It can be put on, well, for example, I could put it on my phone and my wife's phone and my daughter's phone, couldn't I?
Yes, if you share login information, yes.
Nothing further. I don't have anything further. Mr. Hoover has some questions.
Go ahead, Mr. Hoover.
How you doing today, Investigator Hoff?
Doing well.
Long afternoon so far?
Not too bad.
Okay. When you arrived on the day of the 18th, did you observe that back door from the outside?
Yes, yeah, I would have. When I arrived, I went around back by Lieutenant Corporal at the time, Krabel, who was standing back there, yes.
Okay. And did you observe whether or not there were footprints, or at least that somebody had been on that porch?
Yeah, the steps had not been shoveled, and you could tell that people had come in and out of that back door.
And do you know, prior to the 18th, when would have been the last time that it snowed? And for the record, maybe I should say January 18th of 2024.
I don't know when it snowed before that, no.
Okay. Would it refresh your recollection if you looked at some data from the weather service?
Sure.
Okay. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
And just look at this yourself. Don't read anything out loud. But if we look at here, this would have been the 18th. Okay. And I'm not interested on the snow that happened on the 18th, because we can't verify it. And this is new snow.
Okay.
We can't verify when that happened. But if we go above the 18th, can you find the date where next it would have shown some new snow?
Would have been the January 12th or the 13th.
Okay.
Significant amount on the 12th, some on the 13th.
Okay. And so if my math is right, that'd be about 5 or 6 days from the 18th, correct?
Yes.
On the Ring doorbell subpoena, do you know how wide of a range Corporal Stare, right?
Yes.
Corporal Stare requested?
I'd have to look at the specific, what is named in the search warrant, but it was a few days before the 17th and the 18th.
Would it refresh your recollection if you had a chance to look at the search warrant?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
If you, again, just look at it yourself, and specifically this paragraph right here.
Yeah, so again, the search warrant requested all video recorded and stored from 1/1/24 to 1/19/24.
So at least it had snowed in between that period of time, correct?
Yes.
So at least one can assume from the evidence that someone had approached that or had been on that porch sometime between the 12th and the 19th.
Yes.
Okay. And also, more than likely, the officers on the scene would have triggered the camera on the 18th, correct?
Yes, they would have been in a position to have triggered that footage if it was active in recording.
And that back door, did you take any fingerprints off the deadbolt?
We did not know.
Okay. And would it be fair to say that Miss Folman was in a state of panic or hysteria when she discovered the body?
I would say so.
Okay. Sometimes people do things that they don't realize what they're doing when they're in a state of panic or hysteria.
Sure, sometimes they can.
Is it possible that she may have locked the door and not realized that she locked the door?
Objection.
Yeah, I'm not sure he would know.
I'm just asking if it's possible.
Okay, go ahead, you can answer.
Anything is possible, yes.
Sure. And obviously, someone can enter that door if they had a key. Is that correct?
Yes.
And were you able to locate the keys for that back door?
So I never did know.
Okay. Now, in your investigation, you did receive some keys. Is that correct?
I believe Corporal Krabel was given some keys for the residence.
Okay. And were you kind of the lead investigator in this case?
Yes.
And so you would have kind of reviewed all the evidence?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know if anybody had tried any of the keys that Corporal Krabel got?
I don't believe anybody tried them for the back door. I know they did work to engage the deadbolt on the front door, but I don't believe he or I tried them on the back door.
Do you know if any keys were ever recovered from Kylie?
I don't.
Okay. Do you know if she was asked for any keys?
I don't know if she was asked during her interview.
Okay. What about after her interview? And at any point, did anybody ask if she had keys?
I don't believe law enforcement ever asked her that, no.
Okay. And you talked to a number of people that were associated either as a neighbor or associated with Jennifer, correct?
Yes.
And one of those people was Gina, I'm going to butcher this name, but Schelscher?
Schletty, I believe.
Schletty?
I believe. Okay. I'm mispronouncing it, so I'm sorry to her.
Okay, yeah, and I know I am too, so. And you kind of, why did you speak to her?
Based off my conversations during my canvass, a lot of people had told me she's the unofficial, neighborhood leader, kind of knew what was going on in the neighborhood and was close friends with Jennifer.
Okay. Did she have knowledge about Tyler and Jennifer's relationship?
Yeah.
And did she give any kind of indication what kind of relationship they had?
I mean, I can't remember the specifics of everything she talked about as far as their relationship goes.
Would it help refresh your recollection if you had a chance to look at your report?
Yeah.
Objection.
Well, I'm going to let him answer yes or no. It does call for hearsay.
You didn't, of all the people you talked to, did you find any indication of Tyler physically assaulting Jennifer?
No.
Okay. Did she give you any information about who maybe has keys to the house?
I believe she had mentioned that there was some dispute over Kylie having the keys and not returning them. Again, whether or not those were keys that had been turned over to the family that ended up in her hands after the incident, I'm not quite sure.
Okay. And you also stated that you interviewed Tessa George.
Yes.
And she didn't have any valuable information, correct?
No.
And at least at the time of the arrest, Mr. Dazey seemed fairly confused. Is that my understanding your earlier testimony?
Yeah, again, he was not responding how you would expect someone to respond.
Is it possible that he was mistaking someone else for Tessa George?
I don't know what he was thinking.
Look at a few of the exhibits that you went over. I just want to make sure I have some clarification. Let's start with State's Exhibit 13. A minute. I'll pull it up quick.
You got it?
I think so. Okay. Okay. On State's Exhibit 13, there appears to be like some kind of reddish or some color here on the shelf. Can you confirm that that's not blood?
It very much appeared to be candle wax or something to that effect. Again, it kind of had that, circular shape of a candle. Could have been candle, could have been nail polish. It did not appear to be blood.
And you didn't find any blood spots on the head of this hatchet, correct?
That's for the lab to discuss, not me.
Okay. You didn't visually see any?
No.
Okay. And on the knives that you found, did you visually see any blood, or was there any indication that they had been used?
Not visibly, no.
And you didn't send those into the lab, correct?
No.
Do you know where Mr. Dazey kept this hatchet?
I know based off his statement to investigators, he keeps it in his toolbox, in the cobalt toolbox in his room.
Okay. And that was, can you put it down for a minute, Your Honor? All right, and that's this right here, correct?
Yes.
And I believe you found the cover of the hatchet in the kitchen, correct?
In the dining room.
Dining room, on the table, correct? Okay. And in your investigation, did you find out if anybody else knew about this hatchet?
No, I don't know whether or not it was anyone ever brought up the fact that they knew that he had a hatchet in his toolbox.
Okay. Did you ever find any bloody clothes in the residence?
No.
On those towels that you collected, did you observe any blood on those towels?
No.
Did you find any blood droplets in the bathroom other than in the sink?
No.
And can you put it down for a minute, Your Honor? I apologize. Yes, if you could put it back on, Your Honor. Okay. And this is State's Exhibit 17. And you said that you believe that was a blood drop, number 4?
Yes.
Okay. And then the only other 2 blood drops that you located were in front of Jennifer's room, correct?
That and number 2 was believed to be blood.
Okay. And was it ever determined whether number 2 was human or animal blood?
I don't believe number 2 was ever sent off to the lab.
Okay. What about number 4? Was that ever found out whether it was human or animal blood?
Yes, again, the lab can kind of speak to that further, but yes, that was Jennifer's blood.
Okay. And you receive a copy of that report, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then 5 and 6, again, was that determined whether it was human blood or?
I believe placard 6 was sent to the lab, and that was determined to be Jennifer's blood. Yes.
Okay. And you can't really tell kind of which drops came first, correct?
No, there'd be no way of telling that.
You can take it down, Your Honor. In speaking with, I apologize. Do you know if any search was ever done of Kylie's residence?
No,
And when you say no, you mean there was no search?
there was no search of
Okay.
Kylie's residence, correct?
Do you know whether or not she was asked what clothes she was wearing?
No,
And do you know whether or not she was asked to bring in the clothes that she was wearing?
Objection. It was previously testified that Investigator Hoff did not interview Ms. Fry. Corporal Krabel was the one who did it. These questions, the investigator doesn't have knowledge of.
Okay, objection's overruled. Do you remember the question?
go ahead and ask that again.
Sure. Do you know if she was ever asked to bring in the clothing she was wearing that night?
I don't believe she was ever asked by Lieutenant Krabel.
Okay. And what about Nick's residence? Was that ever searched?
No,
Did anyone ask Nick what clothing he was wearing that evening?
no, but we had him on both traffic camera and ring camera.
And other than the traffic cameras, did you make any other kind of verification as to whether or not Nick was in Cedar Rapids?
No, again, we had him leaving town, headed south on 151.
Did you continue to monitor the traffic cams once you saw him heading down south?
Well, again, he would have passed the furthest southern camera, and so we would have no other cameras to monitor from there on.
Sure. Did you ensure that he didn't turn around and come back?
No.
Do you know if that shower curtain was ever tested?
It was not.
Was the shower curtain sent to the lab?
I don't believe so.
And I know you didn't observe the traffic cams of Kylie, but do you know if the footage was continuously watched throughout the night, or was it based on Kylie's her statements of when she got home?
that would be a conversation for you to have with Investigator Rosenthal.
Okay. Do you know whether or not Kylie had reported anybody else that could verify that she was home all night?
Again, I didn't interview Kylie.
No further questions. Thank you, Investigator Hoff.
Thank you.
Any redirect?
No, Judge, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. You can step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Probably a perfect place for us to quit for the day. Okay. Folks, remember the admonition tonight. You've now heard some of the evidence, but certainly not all of it. And you haven't heard the law from me. Keep an open mind about everything. Don't draw conclusions of any kind. Don't talk to anyone about the case. Don't read or listen to anything about the case. I'd rather you not think about it at all tonight. We'll start back at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Report back to the jury room. Have a good evening.
I just want to see if they talk court things or if they cut. Feels like they cut. Yeah, cut. No, no, no. I mean, I did so well. Now I've messed up the camera angle. I'll have to fix that tomorrow, or you guys are going to have serious motion sickness. I actually also just want to edit my little summary to say Iowa. Okay, so that's good timing because it is bedtime for me. I feel like there's still audio. I'm still hearing audio. I'm going to stop sharing for now. Okay. Cut that audio. Double check that this is doing what it's supposed to do. Why does it say resuming? Don't resume, just do your thing. Oh, everybody cross fingers, toes, everything that I'm going to be able to download this. Because also then I can make it transformative a bit easier. And then we can watch that tomorrow. What time did they start? 4 hours ago. 4 hours ago it ended. Plus 2:26. Oh, guys, I think I know why they took it down. All the comments are audio is making it unwatchable. What's going on with the sound? WTF audio, maybe a sidebar. This video is a mess. So I'll see what I can do. But tomorrow no, I'm way too high. Oh, hi, Frankie. Did you think I wasn't here? He totally was about to jump on this chair. Mel, I think they're talking about the first one. I hope so. 9 a.m. Central for start. Okay, so let's see. 9 a.m. in Iowa. South Africa. So 9 a.m. is our 4 p.m. Okay, let's add that to the calendar. I may... Hold up. Tomorrow's Mandela Day.
Yeah.
As everyone say, yeah, from the kitchen. But I don't think it's a holiday. It's not a holiday, right?
No, unfortunately.
No, it's not. We must do our 60 minutes. 67 minutes. Okay, so 4 p.m. starts. So I might have to download this, transform it, and then put it on and carry on working. But I am... Oh, wait. Vaughn? Steve says, I heard that the elusive Vaughn has been heard. I heard him. He exists. You guys could just watch my vlogs, you know. Just saying. Now he's standing at were you gonna come say hi?
No, I did, but I don't think the camera got.
I don't know if it did either. Let's go back a couple of seconds.
You know what? You know what would actually be quite cool for Mandela Day would be to go back and see if there's any footage from the old the trials.
Oh,
The one that where he made his stand and gave that speech for like 4 hours.
the Ravonia trials.
I think it might have been that one.
Or the Truth and Reconciliation.
No, the one before when the one that essentially led to him being moved off of Robben Island. I'm pretty sure that was the Ravonia trials.
I saw Adam says hi Bjorn. I actually saw something about the Ravonia trials. I'll see if I can find it, but I don't know if it's gonna be YouTube friendly.
I don't know. It would be cool though.
Yeah, it will be cool if I can find it. But I need to figure out now how we watch day 1 and Oscar. Okay, let's ponder this. Day 1 is about 2 hours 26. Oh, it's downloaded. It's about 2 hours 26. But I can cut breaks. Because my worry is I wouldn't do it live, and I don't like doing live trials. They are so, like, if I hadn't been able to skip those dog pictures, it's awful. But if they're going to keep taking down the stream minutes after it happens, I don't really have much choice. I kind of have to do it live. Because I can't be streaming and show and record at the same time. Okay, guys, I see it cuts. It cuts, so that it is a bit less. Okay, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out with a fresh brain. But we might need to pause Oscar. No, we can't pause Oscar. Anyway, it's bedtime. Thank you for hanging out. We'll figure out most likely 9 a.m. Central. I'll try to have something figured out by then. I could always... we could speed through Oscar a bit and then switch over and speed through that, and then, yeah. Okay. Good night. See you tomorrow. It will be 1 p.m. or 12 p.m. my time, either way. something will happen. I hope that everyone sleeps tonight. I hope that I sleep tonight. And I will see you tomorrow. Probably won't get a notification, but yeah. Good night.